Hey everyone, my name's Rob Lamberson. I'm with Reprise Digital, and I'm talking about personality and conversation today. It's actually a topic that's come up all the way from the keynote address this morning and throughout the day. That as voice interfaces and chatbots, which are not dead, by the way, begin to scale, particularly for brands and for enterprise bots, personality plays a huge role. Again, you don't want your bot to be dry. You want it to be engaging. You want it to, enhance the user experience, and it actually does a lot more beyond that. So let me get started. So like I said, I'm the Director of Analytics at Reprise and Ansible. I think the sheet lists me as a developer. I am not. I do more of a role in the strategy and learning agendas behind these bots. So I've been with the media brands agencies for 8 years, and the past 2 years I've been developing and refining the bot measurement plans across particularly the automotive, pharmaceutical, and the food and beverage spaces, but there's a couple of other bots that we've worked on as well. So I wanted to bring up this chart. So messaging is the app of choice these days. You may have about 5 or 6 apps on your phone that you use on a regular basis. With that said, with voice platforms and chatbots, you have a ton at your fingertips that you can use at any time, and typically they become a part of your routine after a while. So messaging is overtaking all over apps. With that said, it's fair to say that the personality of a brand's chatbot or its voice interface does play a huge role in defining the overall personality of the brand. After all, it is the one area where you have an intimate one-on-one conversation, whether it is through voice or through text. You kind of have a personal relationship with the bot or the skill or action. So here we are. Bots are the voice of the brand. So they continue to play a tremendous role in brand awareness, driving leads, and customer service. So when you're talking about brand awareness, you really have a lot of leeway. You can be funny, joking, all depending on what the goal of your product or your brand is. When you're driving leads, you still have a lot of different areas to play with, but you do have a goal to get the customer to convert, go to a site, go to a store, purchase the product. When you're in the customer service space, you may want to take a more empathetic role, understanding an issue or a concern, or guiding someone through an uncomfortable situation. So the personality is strongly influenced by the bot's intent. So I'm going to bring up a couple of case studies of some of the past bots that we've done over the past 2 years, and go through how we worked on the personalities of these bots. The first I wanted to do was the Zyrtec Allergy Cast. This was launched last allergy season on the Alexa platform. So basically, Zyrtec had an Allergy Cast on their website and an Allergy Cast app. They came to us and asked if we can kind of make a voice skill for it. So we did port it, for the most part, into Alexa. So what the skill does is it will look at the pollen count in your area on a given day, and then use some of their external factors that Zyrtec has in its database, which could be past self-reports, other people on other platforms reporting a condition in your area, wind, rain conditions. So actually go to the next page. So what it's saying here is, hey, in Smithtown today, you have a pollen count of 5.8, but your allergy cast is really only a 1.8. So you may not be dripping today. You might not need to take a pill, or take a Zyrtec. Do you want to know what the predominant pollens are in your area? You may be more inclined to be affected by one pollen than another. So you can do a deeper dive into that. Another thing it allows you to do is self-report how you're feeling. So if you're feeling bad on a certain day, the skill or the action will know that if the conditions are similar on another day, you may be inclined to feel that way again. And and it does keep track of that. So this is something that it kind of it understands what you need, and it will help guide you through the uncomfortableness of allergy season. I know I kind of get it pretty bad. Glad that it's almost over. So another fun bot that we made was in the case of Zima. So if you don't remember Zima, it's a malt beverage from the 90s. And it's been brought back the past 2 Memorial Days for a limited engagement until supplies run out. So this bot was really cool in so much that it took on the personality kind of like an Encino Man, or more relevant today, a Kimmy Schmidt. So it reawoke from the 90s, knew nothing about what was going on today, and kind of played with the user. So it here we're talking about, people keep talking about all this technology. What's your favorite gadget here in 2017? It writes, my iPhone. What's an iPhone? Is that like a car phone? Additionally, it had a bunch of reference to 90s culture, including TV. You can make 90s playlists, 90s trivia, talked about 90s tech, 90s fashion. Ultimately, the idea was to drive you to the store locator to go out and purchase some Zima, but people had a lot of fun using it at the same time. With that said, this was an opportunity for us to do some optimizations on the fly. We did see that people that use this bot tend to engage with selfies, and particularly some NS not safe for work selfies. So we were able to turn that into kind of a fun game. So we introduced the Zelfie feature, where we actually encouraged the users to take a selfie, and then they could pick a background or a frame and share it to their social network or so on and so forth. And that did mitigate the unsafe content, and also was very well received by the users. But yeah, overall it was a fun bot to work on, particularly if you're fond of 90s nostalgia. So now I'm going to talk to the Kia Niro bot. So the Kia Niro came out in 2017, actually November of 2016. And this was Kia's foray into a hybrid crossover utility vehicle. So this bot was very sassy. I don't just want to say sassy. It was bold and confident. It kind of knew what it wanted. Typically, talking about cars can be kind of dry. You can't say too much about cargo space. So it would come out with a witty response like, well, enough room to fit blah blah blah, and it had some really cool responses. So here, the example that we're using is, I think, how fast can you go? Fast enough to keep up with your lifestyle and the speed limit. Here we have a case where somebody does go, off the script and says, "Tell me a joke." So it's saying, "Knock knock, who's there? I'm a Guinness Award winner." And theoretically, well, not theoretically, Niro actually did win the Guinness Award for the most efficient fuel consumption by a hybrid vehicle at the time. This bot actually did really, really well for us, and it made Chatbots Magazine's 30 of the best Facebook bots to chat with. Additionally, we launched Kia's Super Bowl ad, the 2017 Super Bowl ad, through the bot. So prior to the game, the bot, the ad was available through the chatbot. Now this bot was not only a messenger bot; it had modules on the Kia.com site, and is now sunset, but does live on as an Alexa skill, where it continues to have this funny personality, but also includes some rich content including podcasts, reviews, and so on and so forth to get some deeper information. Kia did go the route with their bot of bringing in the entire fleet into a Kia bot. So the Niro bot does not sit alone anymore. And then finally, I just have a deeper dive on a bot that we built for AccuView. So AccuView was actually the first bot that we gave a name to, Andy. And this is something that I think is very important in bots going forward. I think people like to talk to a bot that actually does have a name. So we settled on the name Andy. And I like to term this as empathetic education. So having an eye condition could be tough. It could be something that you grew up with, like myself, or it could be something that happens later in life. And using contacts can be, a little scary. So basically, what it does is it takes the approach. Hey, I've been there. I know it's a tough thing to go through, but I'll help you through. I'll walk you through. So here we're talking about eye doctor preparation. So it'll basically list out anything you need to be prepared to talk to your eye doctor about, particularly if you're interested in wearing contact lenses. So yeah, it'll say, let your doctor know that you're interested in contact lenses, and go through a normal eye exam as you normally would, and don't worry, it's gonna be all right. So here we're talking about addressing fears. So the bot will it will take you through the different scenarios, different myths. It tries to dispel myths. You can even still say here at the end, I'm scared. I understand, it's new. Something new is always difficult, but there are myths out there. I can dispel them for you, and it's something that you can definitely get through. And then it was more of an education tool as well. So based on your condition, it can help you find the right lens. So you're informed when you go into not only your visit, but when you're going to look for the right lens. And then finally, in the case of the astigmatism, this one is actually near and dear to me because that's the condition that I have. I was diagnosed in kindergarten in my first eye exam, and the doctor basically told me, you have an astigmatism, it's pretty bad, and you're never going to be able to wear contacts, so you're kind of stuck wearing glasses. I'm like, yeah, that's great news, but I'm 5. I didn't know any better. So I know that's not the case nowadays. Obviously, lenses are made for those of us with astigmatisms. It's just that they have to fit exact and they can't slide around. So the bot, Andy, does walk you through what an astigmatism means, the type of why you need a particular type of contact, and gives an example of the contact, and you have the choice to learn more about it and do the quick responses and so on and so forth. Oh, I need to talk into the mic. You got it. Sure. Cool. So I mean, with all of that said, personality is really, really important from showing empathy in the case of a bot that's going to walk you through allergy season to for the most part, anything that's quote unquote pharma or health related, you need to show a little bit of empathy. Something, when you're talking about a car, you do have the opportunity to be a little bold, particularly when it's a new launch of a new vehicle, and you want to get people really ramped up and really excited about it. And then you just have the opportunity for some brands to just be fun, particularly with a malt beverage and alcohol brand. People want to have be excited, be have a good time. So there's so many different use cases, and really the personality does have to suit the intent of the bot. And like I said, this is a one-on-one thing, and as bots continue to scale, as voice interfaces continue to scale, the personality of your platform really can define the personality of your brand as a whole. Yeah, I don't think I have much more. So I'm actually, since I know that we're going to go into our afternoon break after this, I can open this up to questions and I can answer quite a few if you do have some. Sure.
Ways you can recommend for kind of maintaining personality through the design process, keeping it defined, keeping it the vision, and aligning with the brand at the same time, and maybe with other aspects of the product that may not be immediately part of that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So when we go into our initial learning agenda, we speak internally first before we go to the brand team. So we do look at the way the brand message is portrayed as a whole, and also how, as we're, start to write, not even initial copy, but as we're designing out the bot, we do think of how we can align with the brand's overall message, yet in whatever case we're working on, how we can, make this unique to that particular use case. That is then presented over to the brand team, whether they're aligned or not. We may have to go back and make some revisions. We bring in our team of copywriters to write a lot of the copy. There was a case in AccuView where we were really dependent on the NLP, and we found that actually we had to revert back for a while to just a strict decision tree. And just because the NLP was not giving us not just the personality that we wanted, but it just, for this case, it wasn't able to answer a lot of questions properly. So that was something where we actually shut it down for a day or two, went back to a full, new copy, new decision tree, until we were able to retrain the NLP a little bit better to, number one, align with the personality we wanted to keep, but also the message we wanted to send out. Yes?
So with chatbots, obviously you have a lot more text and it's a little bit different to read. How does that translate into voice? So if Alexa was in this, how would you keep that brand personality with the same voice?
So it's mostly in the copy. There's actually a project I'm working on right now where we're using a different voice altogether. So that is still in the the nascent state right now. But yeah, we're scrapping the platform's voice and we're integrating a whole separate voice in with that, which is really kind of cool. And I think that's the way that we're gonna start to go in the future. And I think that that's paramount when we do get into voice proliferation. I'm sorry? That's actually a standalone. It's not being used on Alexa or Google Home right now. We have our own, I want to say, app. I have it on my phone, but I can't show it right now. I wish I could. It's another automotive company, but it's not being done through Amazon, but there are ways to do it through those platforms as well. There are third-party. We are, yes. Not right now. Sorry. Yes.
So I'm curious, this is a lot more remote with text, but have you done, user research to define the tone of the voice? How much do you gain from testing it with AccuView or empty the level of detail? Is that something that goes into this?
Absolutely, yeah. So all of these are done in iterative stages. So it's a very agile process. So in this case, there was the need for a lot of information. Otherwise, the user would just would bounce or would just keep asking question after question. So we found it easier to consolidate it into a huge text bubble. That's not the best practice across the board. It really is a case-by-case basis. And it really is a kind of a test and learn thing as we go along. Yes.
Before writing the copy, what kind of decisions did you make to decide to have more gender, language, and before writing the copy, like how much did you define what you actually want?
That's a good question. So yeah, so there was quite a bit. This was always going to be a male from the beginning. Actually, at first it was called Alex, and yeah, so and it became Andy. Yeah, so yeah, this was something that we worked on in conjunction with the brand team, and they listened to us, we listened to them, and it's just, you would find that I would say, this is just off the top of my head and anecdotally, I'd say about 80% of bots and skills are female. Alexa, Siri. We thought that taking the male approach here would be a good way to go here. And I don't think there's a right answer for that. I think it works either way. In this case, we just, as a whole, when we were writing the copy, when we were getting together in our learning plan and measurement plan meetings in the initial kickoff, we thought that going with a male persona would work best with this. Sure. So we have initial KPIs laid out by both us and the brand team that we want to achieve. So whether it's with Andy, there's find a doctor, find your nearest doctor. There's also a subscription service. So if you do get contacts, you can actually subscribe then, and it can check in on you 7 days later, 30 days later, up to 90 days later to say, hey, are you having any trouble? 3 days later, can I help you out? So yeah, there's certain KPIs that we have, and then we align that with the brand team. And I'm sorry, can you go back to the second half of? So yeah, so it starts with the actual intent of the bot, and then the personality strategies are really built around the type of bot and what we're trying to do with it. So in the case with Kia, we wanted to be very, very bold. Yet we wanted people to go to a dealership and see the car or learn about the car. So I have to say it initially starts in our learning and planning stages. On how we're going to define a personality. Yes. I don't see anyone over there. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So to my knowledge, when we were using Facebook bots, you could only message the people that had liked your page or subscribed to your page, correct?
Right.
So do you take into consideration the people who say like after you on that platform, Facebook specifically, or their personality and brand as a whole?
So it's really the personality and brand as a whole, not just on the platform.
Okay.
Because there has been talk to port this over out of Facebook into other, yeah. Yes. So, yeah, so that's its own intent, and it's funny because it happens differently on Amazon and Google. So Amazon, it's really apparent. It'll basically ask you, hey, how you feeling today, before it gets into the whole Allergy Cast for your, where you live for that day. On Google, it'll serve you up the Allergy Cast first, and then it's actually kind of a little buried in the flow, and that's something that we're working on right now. But then it'll serve up the self-reporting function. But yeah, so the self-report on Alexa, since that's more of a refined skill right now, we knew to bring it up to the front, and that actually that's one of the first things that it asks you, how you feeling today? Anything else? Oh, there we go. Sure. So we typically turn around these pretty quickly. I would say from the initial kickoff to launch could be 3 to 4 months. Yeah. And that would be, getting most of these through, I mean, aside for Keo, they're run through the brand's marketing accelerator or incubator team. And then once they graduate from that brand's incubator team or accelerator team, they become a full part of the brand team's, marketing efforts, where we have the budget to do more with it. So basically, within 3 months, we'll get it live and get it through the marketing accelerator / incubation team within a particular brand. And once it quote unquote graduates from that stage, then we have the full investment of a brand team, and they can put whatever marketing funds they have toward it to make it better if they see that it needs to be. Oh, sure. So we have about 3 voice and chat developers. We have 2 copywriters, 2 strictly analytics people, and as far as the building side, that's what we use right now. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. So it's a lot of data mining. We use, I don't know if you were at some of the talks earlier today, some of the platforms that we used did present. We use Dashbot, we'll use the native platforms within Facebook Analytics, the Alexa Skills Console, the Google Home console as well. I like to bring everything into a singular platform, particularly for the bots and skills and actions that run across the gamut. That way we see everything in a centralized place. We can look at how people are using it. In some cases, we can look into the verbatims. In some cases, we actually have to scrub them immediately. In the case of AccuView, that was a requirement. So we don't have the insight into the verbatims there. So that was, just that but we do still have the intents, like top intents and so on and so forth. So we get to see how people are using it there and can refine it that way. Yes. So they are part of an omni-channel strategy. So there's obviously media support behind these bots. We bring the bot to site and so on and so forth. So it is a multimodal experience. We can drive from the bot to a vehicle page or to a product page and so on and so forth. Yeah. So yeah, it does take the efforts across everything. Yes.
Was there any gaps in the traditional brand architecture you have to consider?
By gaps in a traditional brand architecture.
Or they might come to you with brand mapping based on personality?
Yeah, so to an extent, I think for the most part, the brands have been pretty receptive to what we have presented with them. But yeah, there have been times to tone things down or to say, we need a little more information, a little less fluff, so on and so forth. Yeah, so I mean, it goes both ways, yeah. Anyone? Anyone? Okay. So we have 3 o'clock. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it.